Hi, this is Allison Richard, your stress management and self-care coach, and I wanted to come to you today with some tips for reducing anxiety and improving relaxation when you're feeling anxiety. And this is coming up for me right now, given everything that is going on in Israel. And in truth, these are things that can work for any type of anxiety or fear in your life, and when you're in need of relaxation. So I just want to start, while I talk for a moment, you're going to start by just making a fist with your right hand for a moment. And we're just going to hold a point that really helps to kind of release stress and anxiety. So once you make your fist, I want you to figure out kind of where that ring finger of yours is touching the center of your palm. And then once you figure that out, you're just going to take your thumb to that point that the ring finger was touching. And you can just sit here and hold this and rest your hands in your lap if you would like, while I speak for the beginning. So before we move into some different techniques that we're going to do kind of like this, I wanted to just speak to the fact that oftentimes, when it comes to anxiety, we can create more anxiety for ourselves based on the way that we're thinking about things, talking about things, the way we're framing things. So I just want to start, and you can keep holding this point while I talk, by asking you to think about, like, how do you often describe yourself? Because if you often hear yourself either in your mind or out loud to other people saying, oh, I'm an anxious person, or I am anxious, anything that follows those two words of I am, the brain takes to be something that is your identity. And our brain is very attached to our identity, and it sees it as very fixed and not changeable. So not only are you going to is your brain going to filter in opportunities for you to feel anxious or experience like anxious situations, it really is going to kind of make this part of your identity. Whereas if we kind of switch just the wording of how we word this for ourselves and say, I feel anxious, just that switch between am and feel allows us to, our brain doesn't think of a feeling as being part of our identity. It thinks of that as more of some sort of just statement of a current state that we're in. It's a state of being. So it's more changeable. It's more kind of mutable. So that's kind of the first thing. The second part is where kind of our anxiety comes from. So anxiety and stress have very similar symptoms. Stress is often the symptoms we experience in the moment, like you get caught off in traffic and your response kind of activates because you got caught off in traffic. But after that moment, any kind of residual stress is more about anxiety. And oftentimes our anxiety can come from a few places. So some of the top places are worries about things we can't control, the unknown. So again, just something we don't know. And maybe something that we also don't have enough information about yet to be able to kind of have clarity or feel confident in our knowing about it, or feel like we can take an action in one direction or another. So it is, again, sitting in that place of the unknown, but maybe just because we don't have enough information yet. So just kind of keeping in mind all those things for yourself, and if maybe where you are kind of in those states of anxiety, or maybe what's creating it, and where you can kind of allow yourself to reframe that story a little bit. So when dealing with kind of reducing our anxiety, the first thing we want to do is go kind of broad and general to calm your stress response first on that just general level. So I want you to take your fingertips to your temples for a moment and just massage your temples. And so this is probably one of the first things I always do in most things that I teach and talk about, because these are just neurovascular points. And what this does is when we're in fight or flight, all the blood in our brain gets kind of pulled back to our survival brain at the base of our head, where our head and our neck meet, which can be why there's, a lot of tension in the neck when we're really stressed or anxious. When we rub these neurovascular points, it signals to the brain to just redistribute that blood back to the rest of our brain so that we can actually connect to those more advanced cognitive parts of our brain that allow us to problem solve, creatively find solutions, and to be able to respond instead of just reacting from that survival place. So go ahead and just take a deep breath in and exhale. And if you haven't already, maybe just kind of rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 of like where you are in feeling of anxiety right now as we're starting to do these. And as we move through a couple more, I just want you to kind of be able to kind of check in with yourself and maybe re-rank at the end of how you're feeling. So next thing you're going to do is you're going to sedate your triple warmer meridian. This comes from acupuncture, Chinese medicine system. Triple warmer meridian really just kind of runs down the backs of the arms, off the backs of the hands. So you're just going to cross your hands over to your opposite shoulders. Just take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, really just draw your hands down the backs of the arms, off the backs of the hands. And then you can just do that a couple times. And so this is basically when you rub it in this downward motion, it sedates this meridian and it calms your nervous system. So you can always just sit here and you don't even have to do the whole thing. You could just sit here and pet yourself, pet your upper arms a little bit. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. And then another thing that I really like working with is the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve starts at the base of your skull, so in that survival part of the brain, moves into the neck and then kind of goes down into your torso, and it makes contact with all of your vital organs, which means that is why stress can be and anxiety can be so connected to our digestive, and we can have like digestive upset when we're really anxious, or heart palpitations and stuff like that, because it is connecting, and there's little nerve signals going into all of these organs at all time based on how we are feeling. So we want to calm that nerve, or like stimulate that nerve so it calms our nervous system. And these are two things I really like to do at night when I'm struggling to either go to sleep or maybe wake up in the middle of the night and just find, mind is spinning around 3 a.m. So you can do both of these together if you really want to. So what you're going to do is you're going to cup one hand and take it to that place of your survival brain. So just hold on to the base of your skull, the back of your head. You're going to take your other one to your forehead. So just like you have those neurovascular points at your temples, you also have them above your eyebrows. So you're basically just calming your nervous system. You're holding onto that survival brain. And if you're doing this in bed, you can just kind of prop your elbows up with pillows and just get really comfortable and relax here. You can even kind of let yourself think about what's stressing you out or not. You'll just find that it kind of calms you after several minutes. And then another thing that you can do to stimulate this vagus nerve is by doing what's called an O breath. And basically the vibration of this breath on the inhale is what's really helping to kind of stimulate that nerve. So all you're going to do is make this O shape with your mouth. And then slowly, like you're sipping air in through a straw, just start to inhale through that O shape. Close your mouth at the top and then just slowly exhale through the nose. Just do that a couple more times, inhaling through your O. Exhaling through the nose. And then go ahead and do 2 more times on your own. So I like to say, do this at least 4 times to kind of make sure you activate that nerve. I tend to be an overachiever and try to do at least 6 just to make sure, but do at least 4. So go ahead and take one more inhale. And then exhale through the nose. Good. And then sometimes we really just need some help processing some of that anxiety. So we may realize that we're being anxious, and we may realize that we don't have anything to be anxious about anymore, or we may want to release some of it. So we just need kind of help in releasing and processing that. So we're gonna do some tapping on some different meridian points. So first you're gonna find your stomach meridian points, but basically your cheekbones. Just tap here. And if you think about what your stomach does for you physically, it helps you to digest your food and process your food. So on kind of this energetic and emotional level, our stomach helps us to assimilate. So maybe if you have a lot of information that you've just been given and you're just kind of trying to take it all in, this can really help you to assimilate some of that and process. And then if you are experiencing anxiety or fear or worry or anything kind of along that trajectory of emotion, you're going to find your kidney points, which basically if you find your collarbones, it just goes right below your collarbones. There's that little kind of soft spot, and you're just going to tap there. And so these are your kidney points, and this just helps with processing those emotions of fear or anxiety. And if any of these points are tender as we tap them, it just kind of means that you need it. So feel free to keep tapping. And then the last thing that I'm going to have you do is your spleen points. So basically, if you kind of stay at the center of your chest on either side, just go down to kind of the bottom of your ribs. So you're still on your ribs. And then you're going to walk your fingers a little wider out to the sides so that you are tapping more the side ribs, the base of the rib cage. And these are your spleen points. And so spleen really helps with any feelings of overwhelm. So I think when we're anxious, often we feel really overwhelmed, and you can kind of get stuck in the whole just analysis paralysis. We're kind of unable to act. We're not sure what to do. So this can kind of help with that feeling of overwhelm, as well as trusting the process. So maybe allowing us to just have a little bit more faith and trust in the process. So go ahead and take a deep breath in. And then exhale. And the last thing that I want to leave you with is working with our third chakra. So our third chakra, kind of chakras being the energetic equivalent of our spine. Third chakra is very much about, it's right kind of below your rib cage, between your belly button and the base of your rib cage. So it's not only your physical muscular core, it is also the core of who you are. So what you value, what's important to you, what your needs are as a unique human being. So I want you to, what you're going to do is you're going to take one hand back to your forehead. So again, you are just calming your nervous system as we do this. You're going to take your other hand, you can do palm flat or fingertips together, and you're just going to tap that point anywhere between the belly button and the base of the rib cage. And as you do, you can either just take in these words as I say them, you can repeat them in your head or out loud. I can let go of all that I think that I should do and the person that I think I should be, and stay connected to what I need and what I value. And then one more time. So I can let go of all the things I think I should do, and the person that I think I should be, stay connected to my needs, and give myself what I need in this situation. Just take a deep breath in for a moment, almost like you can breathe into that space at your solar plexus and clear it out. Just exhale out through your mouth, let it go. One more time, deep breath in. And then exhale. Good, just releasing your hands down. And one of the reasons I love doing that solar plexus is I feel like oftentimes when we're feeling anxious, maybe there's a lot of things going on in our current situation. Maybe there's just a lot of other people around. It can be a little bit harder to kind of stay connected to what it is that we need, and really being able to give ourselves what we need, because that's really the important thing. So feel free to take a moment to check in with yourself and kind of where you are on that scale of feeling anxious at this moment. You can always repeat any of the practices again, especially if you're feeling anything over a 3, 10 being high, 1 being low. And feel free to come back to this practice as often as you need. So sending lots of love, and take care of you.